My brother Carol and I knew we were going to get a belt from our dad, gentle giant that he was. He was 6'4" tall and quiet most of the time, but when Mom's anger moved to threats of being dealt with by our dad when he got home, he could put on a whooping if it came to that. This was the 60s in the rural South, long before timeouts, standing in the corner, or even groundings. It was going to be a pure and simple, physical, teeth chattering, backside blistering, loud screaming and crying spanking. In other words, there was no talking our way out of this one. I was 11, Carol 10, and we had been home alone. I'm sure it had been my idea, as usual, to pull out our BB guns and do target practice in our bedroom. Since I could convince Carol to do anything that seemed risky or fun to his warped ego, it started with hanging our punt, pass, and kick awards from the ceiling, awards we had won by beating almost every kid in our age in Carson County. The hard, copper BBs ripped through them with great precision as we smugly applauded each other with our prideful eyes. Then it was time for a real challenge, something more suited for our obviously masterful skill level. I'm sure it was my idea, and I'm even sure that Carol pulled the trigger on the now infamous shot heard all over Texas. We could see about a 3-inch square of my mother's porcelain-faced kitchen oven from our bedroom. The shot would have to go from our bedroom, through our hallway, across the corner of the den, into the dining room, under the cabinets with my mother's good china, and travel about 10 feet of the kitchen before striking the oven door. There was no discussion. Most of my crazy ideas that I gave my brother went directly from my spoken word into action within seconds. I felt like we were walking the 13 steps of the gallows as we eased out of our bedroom, down the hall, through the den and dining room, and into the kitchen to inspect our dirty work. We knew exactly what the outcome was going to be when our mom got home and spotted the chipped porcelain with the petite dimple on raw metal. We had to have a plan. Carol said we needed some padding. That way it wouldn't hurt as much. Yep, that was our plan. It is unbelievable to me today that I consider this a good plan. After all, it came from Carol. We quickly stuffed kitchen towels in our jeans and sat quietly in our room waiting for our parents to come home. I remember the mumbling coming from the kitchen and my father stepping into our room. He always waited to pull his belt off until he got in front of us. I'm pretty sure it was part of the overall punishment experience. We knew there was no turning back once the weapon was drawn through all the loops of his pants. A belt in hand and being mad was not a good combination for Carol and me. Bend over, the words I hated to hear my dad say. 15 seconds and 4 or 5 licks into the spanking, it was going really well for us. The towels were working great. Our plan should have included some fake screaming and crying. Because my dad lifted Carol's shirt to see the towel sticking out of his pants. He disappeared for a few minutes into the den where I'm positive I heard laughing. However, creativity would get us nowhere. We had to complete our punishment. We took the next several licks on bare behinds. Raw leather on bare behinds. We survived as we always did, our bond deeper. Several weeks later, on one of our stops walking home from school, we decided to drop in on Mom. We needed 2 quarters for the soda fountain. We barely entered the lobby of the county extension office where she worked before the giggles and jabs began to roll out of her co-workers' mouths. Have you killed any toasters today? We quickly pivoted and headed straight home, neither of us handling the embarrassment very well. Then I realized, thanks to our mom, that we were destined to become fairly famous in the multiple county area of the Texas Panhandle, and all from a single incredible shot.